Well, what happens is these little spots will grow and they will form like a little cup on the back of the wing. Back of the wing, gosh, I've been hanging around birds too long. Okay, let me start over here. Okay. So we've had lots of heartache and sadness these last couple days, haven't we?
Yeah.
Because our favorite little bunny didn't make it.
Yeah.
And it's been really, really sad. And so today we brought in the last two does that we have. And so Miley is spending a little bit of time with them and getting to know them and picking out a new little special bunny.
Yeah, I was thinking this one would be the buck because of how big it is.
I know, it's huge, ginormous. But Brooke thinks that both of these are doeling, or does, I guess is what you'd say. I'm used to goats, does. And we have a little gray one out there, and he's the buck. And
that's
so
what Phoebe is saying, right?
Yeah, that's what she thinks anyway. So, and Phoebe's Brooke, by the way, in case you guys are wondering. Phoebe is her nickname. So anyway, the little gray one, that's a buck. We've decided we might butcher in the future, but that's a big might. And the kids want to probably keep these two to breed. And then Brooke is allowing Miley to pick which one she likes the best.
People are thinking that one because it's 4-H quality.
Yeah, this one I think she said is more of a show quality rabbit than this one over here is because of the coloring. And Miley is not taking them in 4-H yet.
I just want to know how to hold them.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to hold them that much.
She's gonna learn all she can about rabbits this year, and then probably enroll in the rabbit project for next year for 4-H. So that is what is going on this morning. Turning out to be a nice, beautiful, sunshiny afternoon out here today. And boy, with all this rain, I am just exhausted. It just makes doing chores it seems like it just takes twice as long to get them done. And yesterday we ran to town to do shopping and everything, but we had more rain, and so we were like out of all of our animal feed. Normally we can just we get by with buying several bags each time we go shopping, but for some reason this time everything ran out all at once. It was pouring rain in town, so we had to put all the food in the pickup, and so because of that I didn't have any room to get any groceries. So it's all we got done, and all we got accomplished yesterday was buying our animal food, which works. And then in the evening we had some family still here from the wedding, and they actually went back today, and so we got together with them and had a little supper last night. And so we kind of got back late, so I'm kind of a little bit tired now. But anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about cedar apple rust, because this year I think we are going to have a bad infection on our apple tree. We have a couple of cedar trees in our yard. We usually get the worst infections whenever it's been really wet and rainy out. And so I think this year is going to be a year when we have a really bad infection. So I wanted to show you cedar apple rust starts out infecting the apple tree. As you can see here on these little leaves, they're just full of little spots. Okay. On the back of the leaf, they will form a little cup-like structure. And then the cup-like structure will develop little tubes from it about midsummer to early fall. Okay, well then it will release the spores, and the spores will become airborne, and they will fly right over here, and they will land on that cedar tree right over there. And then as you can see right there, those brown galls will form. And then whenever we have a wet and rainy spring, they will develop little tube-like orange structures like that. And then from there they will release the spores, which will then in turn migrate back over to the apple tree. And the whole process takes 24 months to do. And it requires 2 hosts to survive. And so that's kind of how it works. I mean, that's a very basic explanation of it, but I just thought you might be interested in seeing what they look like. Now, just probably about a week ago, all of those little orange tubes on there, they were really full and they almost looked like gelatin, and they were really nasty looking. From what I understand, cedar apple rust doesn't kill the trees or anything like that, but it can affect your crop of apples if you have a really bad, severe infection. Now, this is the 5th year we've been here, and this fall will be the 6th. And in the 5 years that we've been here, we've only had 1 year where we did not get any apples at all. Most of the time our tree will become infected with it, but it will still go ahead and produce a lot of apples. The 1 year it didn't, it got a severe infection to where it dropped a lot of its leaves. And then when it did that, it also dropped the fruit. But we don't know if it was actually the cedar apple rust that actually caused it, or it was just needing a break, because the 2 years previous to that, it had produced a lot of apples. I mean, a lot of apples. And so it just might have needed a break. But anyway, the best way to prevent it would be to get rid of the cedar trees around your place. And that 1 year after we did not get any apples, we had seriously considered taking out our cedar trees, but then we never did. And then last year we ended up getting a lot of apples again, so we don't know. We're kind of iffy on whether we should really take out the cedar trees or not. But the spores can actually travel anywhere from a 1/4 of a mile to a 1/2 a mile away, and so if we got rid of them around here, I know that there's other places around here close by that have them, and so we wouldn't be 100% rid of it. In fact, I just now looked at the apple tree, and I can almost guarantee you that we are not going to have a very big apple crop this year, because normally this tree is just loaded with little tiny apples. And I was looking around trying to find some. I was having a really hard time actually finding any. Let's see, right there is one, but they're pretty few and far between. Then the other thing I wanted to show you is our alfalfa patch. With all this rain, we are going to have an excellent crop. It is looking really great. I'm very excited and impressed on how it looks this year. We haven't sprayed it or even fertilized it or anything. I keep meaning to do research on what we need to do with it, but I keep forgetting. You know, I don't really want to spray it unless we really have to. In fact, this alfalfa is non-GMO, and so it really can't be sprayed by any harsh weed killer or anything like that, and we really were never planning to do that in the first place. But at one point we did talk about at least treating it to keep the grass down a little bit. But since we feed it to the goats, you know, we're not really too worried if there is a little bit of grass in it. We started sort of digging a pond out back here, and so Miley wanted to come over here and check it out and see how it looks. And it sure filled up. We need to do a lot more digging before we can actually call it a pond, though. just about fell in.
You told me to come.
I don't think so. So is it deep over there?
I can't get in the water.
Why can't you?
Because every time I get close, I keep slipping.
Oh.
I don't think I can get in. I think I can.
You ended up losing your boot over there. Okay, so now what should we do?
Go inside and play with the bunnies.
Yeah, that's all Miley wants to do today is just play with the little bunnies. So, and I've got tons and tons and tons of housework to get caught up on, so I think that I am going to make this a day of housework. And then since I didn't get any groceries or any shopping done yesterday, we'll probably go in tomorrow and get all that stuff done.
And tomorrow is skating too.
Yep. I really need to get out and get the garden going, but it's a little bit too wet to do that today too. So I guess housework it is.